lot of people look at us as robots or just out doing a job, but everything we see and do affects us just like it does everybody else.
A lot of problems with first responders and veterans is that now we're in a battlefield that's very different.
I've lost more friends to suicide than I did in combat, and it really hurts.
When you push the human envelope to those maximum extents, physically, psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually, and then you pull that plug, nothing prepares you for the silence. Nothing prepares you for that void.
You can't come that close to death without it having some effect on you.
I'll never forget my wife telling me, you know, you're not the same Brett that I married.
What War Horses does is it puts you in that environment to, in essence, look in the mirror. But that mirror's that horse. And that horse is going to tell you where you're at.
You got to relax. You got to calm down. You got to slow your mind down and just think about this one thing, controlling that horse.
The first thing we do before we get on a horse, we breathe. Let go of everything. Let go of everything in your head. If I don't let go of everything, I cannot be present with the horse.
It's magic. I just started crying. It was the first time in my life that I literally let everything go.
Compassion, generosity, love, all of these things trickle back into what it is to be a human being.
It's completely changed me.
All the confidence I had lost, it started coming back working with these horses. They've given me my life back.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots. Oh my goodness. 2022. Here we are at the first show of 2022. Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining, and hello everybody here in the chats. Elizabeth, David with the yes, bring a jacket comment. Yeah, that's almost a rhetorical question. I saw the weather for Quebec, and oh my gosh, it's going to be cold. So welcome everybody. Today is the 7th day. Let me turn this down just a little bit more. I don't know how loud that is in your ear holes. Today's the 7th day of January 2022. The first show of 2022 here on WTF Nation Radio. I know CQ is doing he did a show over our break. But I think I'm the first. We're the first for 2022. So Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So I've made a couple of changes. I don't know if you're going to be able to see them or notice them, but I noticed them and I like them. I think everything looks pretty good. Not overburdening the processing power of my machine, so I'm very, very happy about that.
I'm jelly.
It's so cool. You know, it's really cool to see. When I was on my old machine, it was like, 13 to 15% when I was broadcasting with video, and now it barely breaks 1.
That's like strange because when I stream, when I test stream and do video gaming stuff with OBS, I rarely ever go above 4%.
Really?
With my little laptop. So.
Yeah. Well, my other computer had an i7 in there, but I don't think originally when that computer was made, it had an i5 and it was upgraded to an i7. And I don't think that the motherboard could handle it. It was a small form factor computer. Still is. I'm still using it, but I'm just not doing it for broadcasting. So I'm glad I upgraded my that stress. You know, it's important to eliminate stressors in your life, and that was having a computer that barely kept up was a stressor, because I like to do good stuff and I don't like it to look like crap and have random restarts and stuff that we had. Gremlins, man. And now I still have gremlins. They're just different gremlins. If you guys caught the last show before we took a break for last year, I did a show, and the Medal of Honor recipient, Florent Groberg, was on, and I failed to be able to bring his video in, and I'm absolutely sure it was something that I was doing wrong. It was switchology on my behalf. He was doing nothing wrong. I think I was doing everything wrong. So I do apologize for that. So we have a listener in Canada. He's from Ontario, and so I said, hey, welcome to the show. His name's David. And I said, I'm going to be in Quebec next week. Should I bring a jacket? And that was a stupid question. I know it's cold as hell up there. And I was kind of scared, because I think it was on Tuesday or Wednesday morning. It's going to be negative 22, and the high of the day is going to be like negative 9 or negative 10 or something like that.
Nope.
Fahrenheit.
Nope.
That's a whole lot of nope, dude.
Yeah.
But fortunately, and I don't know I don't know the layout of the facility that I'm working in, but I hope it's temperature controlled, and I'm working on an aircraft engine, so, and I've got to run it, so I hope they have a really good exhaust system, and it's just not out in the elements, man. That's going to suck. Regardless, it's going to be awesome. So how was everybody's break? Everyone's back from their holiday block leaves now. Hopefully no one got hemmed up with all those flight delays, man. I was really concerned. I traveled over Christmas. I went to Wisconsin to visit my parents, because they got smart and moved out of the state of Illinois. So, of course I brought a jacket. I was expecting cold. It didn't get that cold. I think 9 degrees was the coldest. And the COVID protocols suck on the airlines. I think it doesn't matter what airline you fly. They all have to follow the same rules. It's just the way that they enforce the rules. Like, I flew Delta. When I went up to Montana, I flew Delta. And they were like, okay, if you got a plate of food in front of you, or if you're eating snacks or whatever, enjoy your snack. And then when you're done, put on your mask. If you're going to get up and go to the bathroom, make sure your mask is on. If you're going to be sitting there doing nothing, put your mask on. That's cool. American Airlines, dude, they got stormtroopers marching up and down the aisle. And it sucks, because you order, I'll drink a Coke or or orange juice or something like that. And so I take my mask down, and I take a drink, and it's almost like I haven't even put the damn drink back on the tray yet, and they're like, "Put your mask back on." I'm like, "Oh my God, okay." Why don't I just kind of poke a hole in it and then just stick the straw in there or something?
It's like that marching band that had that weird.
That was Texas. That was the Texas A&M band. Oh my gosh, I saw that picture. They were, I forget who they were playing. I think they may have been playing Arkansas or something like that. But they had their instruments up, and they had these big ass holes like where their mouths are, so they could play their instruments and stuff. But they were always wearing a mask.
Absolutely, no sense.
So these COOF protocols are different as far as states go. If you're in the state of Texas, like I am, you can walk around all day and you would hardly know that there is a pandemic around. It's pretty cool. So I flew up to Milwaukee, and my dad picked me up, and we drove up to where he lives with my mom. And I was asking him, I'm like, hey, are they pretty Nazi-like up here? And he goes, no, it's pretty cool up here. You just they recommend you wear a mask. They don't get on you if you don't. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. So we got in the car a couple days later and we drove down to my brother's place. Both of my brothers live in the Chicago area. And we had just crossed from Racine, Wisconsin into the state of Illinois. We just crossed the border and there's a rest stop there. And my mom's got a thing where she wants to stop because they have an Auntie Annie's pretzel place inside the rest stop.
Oh, yeah.
So she wants some pretzels. No problem. My dad being my dad, it doesn't matter how much gas is in the tank. If the needle is off of the full mark, he's going to put gas in it. His gas tank is always full in that car. And I think I think his ass itches. It starts to itch at least whenever he starts using gas, you know. If it's off that full mark, he's like, we got to stop for gas. So we dropped my mom off at the front and went to go put in. He wanted to put some gas in the tank. We'd only gone a couple of hours. And state police approached him while he was pumping gas. Sir, while you're pumping gas and you're outside of your car, you have to have your mask on. And pretty much the entire state of Illinois was like that. We were in Geneva and Oak Brook and in the burbs and stuff, but still, protocols are protocols. Businesses are, people are walking outside, exercising in parks by themselves, wearing a mask, and it was hard. It was hard not to judge. I try not to judge people, but damn, dude, it's really, and that's got to mess with your mindset. Because that to them is normal. Me being in Texas here, this is normal for me. So that was like, I'm in a third world country now. Yeah, Heather, you think the state police would have something better to do? While I was there, there was a shooting at the Oak Brook Mall. This did not hit the national news. This was really big while I was there because it was local. It was heavy on the local news. I didn't even see a blip on the national news. But gangbangers from the city came out to the burbs and got in a shootout outside the Gap at the Oak Brook Mall.
We have like mass shootings here like almost every day. Murder Beach. Yeah.
Murder Beach. It was weird because I don't watch any news, and sitting at my parents' house, they always have, and this is my mom. My dad would rather read a book. My mom's always got Fox News on. Like, it's background noise in the house.
So bad for your mental health.
And I told her that. I'm like, Mom, please just turn it off. Turn it
so
off.
Bad.
Turn on a local talk radio station or something where you actually hear humans talking.
See, me and my grandfather, we like the Weather Channel.
Yeah.
We just run the Weather Channel all day. If there's nothing else on, just for the background noise, it's Weather Channel. Works out.
That's cool. I would like that. I think I could deal with that a whole lot. I want to see, but as soon as you see Jim Cantori get up on there, then you know bad stuff's going to happen. Anyway, hey, let's talk about some shows we got coming up since we're back on the air.
Oh, yeah.
Back on the So tonight we have our first guest of the year. It's Carl Whalen from Back the Heroes Rumble. He's going to be on tonight talking to us about upcoming events. I think he's going to have a new tribute to some fallen troops from Afghanistan. Two of the 13 troops they're going to honor, and so we're going to hear from Carl at the top of the hour. Let's see. Thursday, Command Sergeant Major retired Tara Bryan is going to be on. She's going to be on the show to talk about her recently published book, Taking Back My Name, Rediscovering Myself After Divorce, where she opens up about marriage, the military, the ministry, and how it can impact a relationship in ways that you never thought possible. So she's going to be on. That's happening this Thursday on the 13th. And then on the 18th, which is the following Tuesday, actor Sem Witwer will be hanging out with CQ and Radar on Pop Culture Warrior to talk about his upcoming projects and his experiences as an actor. Now, I had never heard of Mr. Witwer before, so I looked him up. Dude is a busy man. I think he's a vampire because he's been acting for an extremely, extremely long time. But he looks like he's 20. He does a lot of stuff, Star Wars heavy, the voice stuff. So that's going to be cool. I think CQ's going to probably have him do maybe a promo in the Darth Maul or Palpatine voice.
Ooh.
That would be pretty. That would be pretty cool. So that's all coming up. So Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you for being here, man. I hope everybody had a good weekend. I hope my brothers. The day that I traveled, I got a text message from my mom, and she says, "Hey, your brother, who I was going to stay with. We had a whole bunch of people kind of converging on their houses. All the in-laws and outlaws were coming, and she's like, we're going to have to find new arrangements for you because your brother's got COVID. He tested positive." Well, I was like, well, crap. Of course, my question is, did he test positive, or is he testing positive and he's sick? Well, he was actually tested positive and he's sick. He's a pretty fit dude. He's a police officer. But so his wife relegated him to the basement. He's got this huge 3,000 some odd square foot house. Mom and daughter had the run of the house, and my brother was shoved in the basement. I guess the good news is he's got a bar in the basement and dartboards and all kinds of cool stuff. So I didn't get to hang out a lot with him. We did stop by his house, and we had a meeting, fully masked up in the garage, exchanging gifts, just kind of sliding gifts, across the floor. Here, Mark, this is for you. And he's like, all right, here's a gift for you, and he's zing it across the floor. And so that was our Christmas with my brother. So I stayed with my other brother. So everybody kind of went to his house. So they had to make special arrangements for me to sleep, and I really appreciated it. So I slept on the crappiest, I think, pull-out couch that I've ever slept on. It was awesome. Just kind of embracing the suck. But it was great to see them. I haven't seen them in like 5 years, so it was good to catch up. Got to see my nieces, but the thing is, the last time I saw my nieces, they were that big, and now they're like that big. They're like 14 and 10, so they were like 5 and 9 the last time I saw them. I think they were probably younger than that. It's been a long time since I've seen them. It's been 5 years since I've seen my brothers, but as far as my nieces go, I think my youngest niece maybe was 2, and then the oldest niece was probably 6 at the time. And they're like huge now and they can talk. So that's kind of neat. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, so station is working on lots of exciting guests, and we're hoping to be on the road a little bit this year. If the damn coof would ever calm down.
Don't get me into it.
So stay tuned for more information. If you would like to be like on the leading edge of that information, go to on the Facebook / WTFNR, and that is our WTF Nation Radio Facebook page. If you're not there already. So you just go and go to the notifications, and you can manage your notifications, and you can assign the priority of these notifications. So whenever we put out this information, then you'll be the second to know, because we'll be the first to know. And then we're going to pump out that information as soon as we get it. So I saw in the news today, and I don't have a spot for it. I don't have any news for it as far as graphics and stuff, but apparently the Supreme Court today was all in session today, talking about, the legality or the constitutionality of the coof spray mandates in the workforce. Started off kind of with a bang, kind of like, they were kind of railing against the Biden administration's attorneys, but then that kind of stopped and went the other way, because it's looking more and more like the Supreme Court's going to ditch a couple of items, but then they're going to maintain the employee mandate for the large companies and stuff, which sucks. Richard Stoll's got a question out in the chat. Where's everyone from? So I'm in Texas.
South Kakalaki.
Pookie's in South Kakalaki.
And the old PD.
So yeah, I didn't have any travel delays. I was really worried about that. I planned my trip actually counting on travel delays. So I left earlier than I should have, and then I came back earlier than I should have, just in case I came back like infected. or in case I had to spend maybe the night in a hotel, or not a hotel, but the airport rather, because flights were canceled. It seems like a lot of the failures in travel were because of flights coming out of the Northeast, New York, because they had that vaccine mandate, the coof spray mandate there. So there were people. I mean, everyone's getting tested a lot more, especially with this new Omicron variant. A lot of folks are getting tested, so lots of people are coming back positive. So people are off work, so they were like missing staff, missing pilots, missing ground handlers, missing luggage dudes. And
so what you're telling me is that the government messed everything up.
Okay, I don't have a graphic for that. But yeah, the coof, Joey, the coof. We kind of get, and we've had shows in the past where we've actually said the real word, the COVID word, and we would get like muted.
We just instantly
muted. We would get lit up, and we would get like
censorship in its finest.
Very much. Pookie is echoing. You're not echoing. I think you sound beautiful.
Am I echoing?
Are you echoing?
I don't know.
I would say that our freedoms of speech are being censored, but it's like like the fact checkers, whoever those, the mysterious band of fact checkers going around. Yeah, I don't hear you echoing, man. I've got all the controls.
Oh.
Okay, if he's echoing, only pay attention to half of what he says. There you go, Holly.
You get to hear my beautiful voice twice.
We ought to charge her extra for this. So, gifts were exchanged, and my mom and dad got me an oscillating tool, an oscillating cutter, which is really, really good if you're doing, fine detailed woodworking type things. I love it. I will eventually use it, but I asked them if it was not a thing that I could take back or maybe get cash for and then get something else if they wouldn't be upset. Because I'm changing all of my tools from, like, I've got some DeWalt stuff. I've got some, not Mitsubishi. What's that? I've got a wide variety of tools from different brands, and I want to
Hitachi.
It's a Hitachi drill. It's the green one.
Yeah.
And it works great but I've been driving a lot of screws with it, so the clutch is kind of burned out on it. So I'm going to change everything over to Milwaukee, the M18 stuff, because it's just got lots of good torque, and the damn battery lasts forever. So I'm changing everything over to Milwaukee. So I went to Home Depot today. They got a humongous selection of Milwaukee stuff. And they had what I needed, so I got the M18 drill. I got the M18 impact driver, which is just the 1/4-inch hex, and then it came with a skill saw, 7 1/4-inch skill saw. So yeah, it's awesome. Brought that home today, took a picture of it, sent it back to my parents. I said thank you very much. But while I was checking out, I'm like, hey, every time I go there, I'm like, hey, I'm a veteran, and I show my driver license because it's got veteran on there. And they said, oh, we don't do that anymore. You have to register with the website. And I'm like, okay, these guys are going along the same route as Lowe's. Lowe's does that. You can use your veteran discount, but you have to register with the website, provide proof of service, and then all day, every day, you can get your 10% discount. I normally don't do it if I'm going there to buy a hose. I don't care so much, but I'm spending, $400 or $500 on some tools. $50 off is significant. And I was kind of bummed out that it didn't work out. So I'm gonna have to get on the Home Depot website and then register. So I found out that there's a story about that, because I looked. I'm like, hey, when did they start this? And it's at the beginning of the year. So in a new shakeup of incentive offers, Home Depot has now capped the amount that one can save using their military or veteran discount. Home Depot has expanded beyond active duty troops, military retirees, and their dependents, and now caters to veterans as well. Many local stores around the country have already honored the VA ID cards. The discount will now require customers to create an account on the website or their in-store app and verify their service status for purchases.
Same way Lowe's works.
Yeah, exactly the same way Lowe's works, but there's a difference. The new 10% discount will be available for eligible purchases up to $400 maximum annual discount. And it can be used every day out of the year. So there's a maximum of $400, which means you spend $4,000. $40,000? Math?
So, okay, I get it. So I can still get my 10% on a refrigerator or some crap like that.
Yes.
That'd be it for the year at that
That'll be about it for the year. So
yeah, I'm done. Yeah, I still shop at the only reason why I quit shopping at Home Depot was because they stopped giving the discounts at that point.
So for $4,000, you'll spend $4,000 in order to receive the $400 worth of discounts in a year's time. But this
It'll
is
work
weird.
out. Like I like Milwaukee Power Tools, and Lowe's don't sell them. Home Depot does.
Mm-hmm.
So I might actually apply for that then, so I can buy my hammer drills and crap that I burn through like crazy.
So Lowe's discount does not specify a cutoff number for their 10% discount. It'll just go and go and go. Lowe's sells, they have Craftsman now. And Sumitomo? Yeah, Lowe's is now selling Craftsman. They got a whole,
everything I own is Craftsman pretty much.
Everything I used to own was Craftsman, but Craftsman today is different than Craftsman
Sears
20 years ago. It was Sears Craftsman.
Yes.
American.
Burr.
I think now it's Chinese Craftsman. I'm not sure.
I mean, it still has a
lifetime warranty.
Lifetime warranty on it. So, I mean, I've broke a lot of like ratchet sockets with the newer stuff, but I mean, they replace it, so it doesn't bother me at that point.
Yeah. See, I've got a lot of Snap-on stuff, but it's certain stuff. I've got Snap-on ratchet screwdrivers. Some of my tools, some of my ratchets are Snap-on because they're heavy use, and we have a Snap-on guy that comes by if I have an issue. I have a screwdriver that's probably 15, 20 years old, and I use it a lot. That is like my most used tool because it's got an 1/8 inch or a 1/4 inch hex receptacle in there.
It's like I got a Klein lineman tool like that I've had forever. Like I think it's like 20 years old. It's probably half of my. Well, it's older. Well, I won't say older than me, but 3/4 my age or 1/4 my. Can't do math right now. I was just reading the comments. But Dave Douglas from Canada, right?
Yeah.
Asked us, what's our opinion on the whole Ukraine-Russia thing? It's none of our business. Really? It's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I haven't. There's so much Putin and Ukraine stuff going on.
We invaded Iraq. If they want to invade Ukraine, no skin off our back at that point. Just let them do what they do at that point.
I don't know if we have, as a country, the moral high ground to dictate what goes on there. I don't know personally. I know in Ukraine, you've got up in Minsk. That's you got Chernobyl. So, I think what Putin's goal is to get the shipping channels that the Ukraine has.
Did you see that crazy? Was it is it Kyrgyzstan? I can't pronounce it probably.
Kyrgyzstan?
Yeah, the riots that popped off all of a sudden.
Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah, I can't. I'll one of the stands, but
that's the fire for effect, no warning. Governments trying to prevent uprisings and stuff. There's crazy
but
shit.
Now the Russian military is involved with it. No? They've got actual Russian troops on ground. It's like what?
Yikes. Let me wrap up my Home Depot thing real quick.
I'm sorry.
So prior to the change, veterans going to Home Depot for 10% were only officially permitted to use it on Memorial Day, July 4th, and Veterans Day. I've never had an issue. I got all of my appliances in my kitchen from Home Depot using my 10% discount. I don't even know what day it was. It wasn't a holiday, that's for damn sure. So that, Home Depot is my preferred store just because it's really convenient and I know the people there. So I use them. I use Lowe's sometimes for other things if I'm looking for a different quality or a different brand of things. Plumbing stuff, I'll go to Lowe's. Tile, I'll go to Lowe's.
Don't buy lumber from Lowe's.
Well, you can buy lumber from Lowe's, but you're going to take about 45 minutes going through all the studs to see what's straight and what's not.
Exactly.
And I've done it. Everybody that goes there done it. So, but anyway, I've never not gotten a 10% discount. For things, and it's not like if I go there to get a 2x4, I'm not going to do, hey, I'm a veteran, give me my 10%.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to go spend $1,000 on a refrigerator and about $800 on an oven and washer and dryer totaling about $2,000, yeah, I'm going to use it.
I use my discount every time I go to Lowe's.
Jim Handy has a good tip here. He says, don't buy lumber, plant trees.
But how do you build things?
With the trees that you've built or planted. And then you harvest your trees, and then you can get your 5 or 6 2x4s out of it.
No. Grow a hemp.
Yasaru Sampeth, hello.
Yasaru Sampeth.
I hope I didn't butcher your name, but I hope you're doing well. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
I wonder what's coming in this new year. You know how you have those psychics that go, I've read the tea leaves, I've rolled the bones, and I know what's coming in 2022. You have any of those there? It seems like you might have maybe some psychic readers in the Murder Beach area.
No, okay. I've got my own weird, I'm like somewhat a conspiracy theorist is what people like to call me, but I've the hair on the back of my neck the last couple of weeks has been standing up for something. I don't know what's causing it. It might just be, the trauma from the last 2 years, or maybe Betty White getting,
Dude, and Sidney Poitier passed away today.
This is the insanity of just the way the world is just ticking right now. Is just, I get that tingly sensation, like something ain't right. Huh?
Well, maybe you should go to the UK. They have a special lady over there. Special lady over there. She's the asparagus psychic.
Say that again?
I said you should go to the UK and see this fortune teller. She is an asparagus psychic.
Asparagus?
Yeah, like the plant. Fortune teller who predicts the future using asparagus has revealed her tips for 2022, and that includes some royal scandals as well as Boris Johnson. This lady is, legit. This is not like she's serious about her craft. Jemima Packington, better known as Mystic Veg, is the world's only asparagomancer, and claims that she can peer into the future by tossing spears of asparagus into the air and interpreting how they fly in the air and how they land.
I'm writing this down because this sounds like a perfect Dungeons and Dragons character.
Oh my God. Okay, do it, man. Oh, Elizabeth, you are so right. I love eating asparagus. I'll grill it. That's the only way that I like it. And I do notice every time, I'll eat it, I'll usually have it with a burger or a steak or something like that. And oh my gosh, it's just, it's a noticeable difference. And it's not like I have to wait 6 hours for it to smell different. It's like the next time I pee, it smells different. So some of her 2022 predictions. The Despite all of the bad press, Boris Johnson will continue as Prime Minister. Where's my other page?
COVID and all its variants will be with us forever, but everyone will learn to adapt and not let it get the better of us. Is the next one?
I'm going to pull up the web. The thing is, when I printed this out, I heard a page hit the floor, and I think that's
I've got the article like right at me.
I didn't. I got to pull this up because this is actually pretty good. But it's actually but it's actually really, really vague in some of the
Nostradamus like.
So let me see. Home Depot, asparagus psychic. Number 2, COVID and all its variants will be with us forever, but everyone will learn how to adapt and not let it get the best of us. Pretty generic, and the humans are very resilient. I don't care where you're from, so that's pretty generic. I see a brand new way of living will become the norm, working from home, etc., but people will no longer accept shoddy services hiding behind the guise of the pandemic. Another generic prediction that's already been coming true. There's people, even in my line of work, I work for a company that they treat their employees extremely well. They're very, very, they're very good. I like them a lot. But we have people quitting and going for that either a title or a better paycheck. Entertainment and sports venues will find ways to progress whilst keeping everyone safe. Yes, they've been doing that. We will be shocked at the news of the unexpected demise of showbiz legends. Okay, Betty White, Sidney Poitier. Who else?
Every year it's like that.
Everyone dies every year. Tense times will continue on the international front, but conflicts will be avoided. I hope that is true. Climate change will continue, and fewer countries will be active in its reversal. Okay. Croatia will. These are some of the specific ones, and you have to hold her feet to the fire here. Croatia will win the Football World Cup 2022, but the competition will still be beset by controversy. That's an important one. Manchester City won't win the Premiership, but watch out for Manchester United. So if you guys are into the round football thing. West Indies will be the surprise winners of the Cricket World Cup in Australia. I like watching it. I'm like, why didn't he knock that fucker out of the park? You have to knock that ball somewhere. I'm like, dude, he just pitched a softball to you. Why didn't you just crack the crap out of that? It's like watching rugby. I like watching rugby. I have no idea how rugby is played.
Exactly. I'm the same way. Like with cricket, I'm like, this is interesting, but I have no idea what the hell is going on.
Let's see, England's women's rugby team will have terrific success at their World Cup in New Zealand. Again, very not specific. Incredible success. How do you define that? Or how do you quantify that? This is an extremely good one. This is a very specific one. The Oscar for Best Film will go to The Power of the Dog, and Benedict Cumberbatch will be nominated for Best Actor. Never heard of the movie. I know who Benedict Cumberbatch is.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, that's Doctor Strange. He'll always be Doctor Strange or Sherlock.
Actually, he played Alan Turing.
Alan Turing. Oh my gosh, that was a great movie.
That was a really good movie.
So do you have any predictions for 2022?
Insanity.
More insanity.
Yes. It's just gonna. Clown World will not end. It'll just keep getting more clowny.
It's not going to end. It's going to morph into something other. And if the Supreme Court doesn't put a stop to this crap, or if they have like a mixed verdict where it really wasn't, you got 12 justices, and it really was close, or something, or if they just take this whole laundry list of things that are being considered, and they approve half of them, but not the other half, and just leave kind of an out for other kind of legislations and stuff. I think this is just going to go on forever. As long as the government is allowed to step on the freedoms of their people, it's going to continue, and it's not going to get better. It's like, taxes, and we can say taxation is theft. It's just going to, as soon as you let this behavior that is rewarded will be repeated. So it's not going to get better. It's not going to get better at all.
On a side note, up in Pennsylvania when I was growing up, I'm a native of the Appalachians of Pennsylvania. There was a old Irish potato farmer, and he used to be able to predict the weather with potatoes. So it's kind of like this asparagus slating.
Tater predictions.
But he was accurate every time. It was nuts. He would read how the potatoes would spud, and
like where the spuds come out. Like if you leave it underneath the sink and it sprouts crap.
Yeah, he would be able to just like hold a potato up and be able to, and every year he was right. He passed away in I'd say early 90s, but man was a genius when it came to the weather. He knew something.
So I've got a potato story. When troops were coming back from Saudi Arabia, this is a Gulf War I. I was coming back. I was stop lost in Korea, so I went to Fort Campbell. I'm going to put this back on just because no one wants to see asparagus lady tossing asparagus and me talking about the Gulf War. So I was stop lost in Korea. I came back to the States, and I was sent to Fort Campbell. At the time that I was coming to Fort Campbell, the soldiers were coming back from the Middle East, and a couple of guys that had trailers. They lived off post. A lot of the troops, a lot of the Joes, just had trailers. 3 guys, helping pay rent, and so they'd come back to their house. The first thing I did is I wanted to buy a car. And there was a female who was like, when she came back, she's like, I'm selling this car $300. And it was a 1977 Dodge Monaco. And I'm like, okay, does it run? She goes, yeah, it ran before we left. It's just been parked out back. And it had a fucking huge bee's nest hanging off of the dome light. So we got rid of it. And so I drove around in a $300 Dodge Monaco for the entire time that I was at Fort Campbell. Another buddy of mine says, "Hey man, I need people to help me clean my trailer because and of these people that I'll pay you in potatoes," is what he said. So everyone was like, "Huh? What do you mean?" Well, before he deployed to the Middle East, he had a sack of potatoes underneath his sink. Or in one of the cabinets, So as he was gone, and he was gone for a while. He was gone for a long time. But those potatoes sprouted and went, and the roots like became whatever the underside of his sink was. And he had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of potatoes that had sprouted out of that bag of potatoes.
No dirt.
No dirt. It used whatever moisture was available. And it gets pretty humid there in Tennessee or in Kentucky. But he had it was stacked. I really wish I had pictures of this. But he had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of potatoes underneath his sink. And it was like the roots became a part of the wood that his cabinets were made of.
Oh, that's where they were getting their nutrients.
All of that stuff had to get ripped out. His entire inside of his kitchen got ripped out. But man, there were potatoes and they were good. We ate them. No, it wasn't. No, Heather, it wasn't base housing.
That's funny.
What's up, Joseph? Joseph Call has joined us. What's going on? Thanks for joining. So what other kind of Oh my gosh, new tax law, taxation.
I'm gonna lose my mind if you say
so
taxes.
there's a Venmo crackdown, and this is happening this year. This is, the beginning of the year, things happen and they go into effect like at the effect of coming effective on the first of the year. That's not it. That's the asparagus lady. Where's my Venmo? I had a Venmo thing. So we're going to go back to this. These are all my gremlins. These are my personal gremlins. My computer is fine. I'm just kind of an idiot. President Biden's IRS is cracking down on payments made through third-party apps, requiring platforms like Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App to report transactions if they exceed $600 in 1 year. And this got my attention because my daughter is paying for her. She took out a student loan. She went to school. She graduated, so we're paying it back. I'm helping her pay it back because that's what parents do. So every month, I'll send her, $300, $500, $700, whatever, to help her pay for her student loan. So, and I'm thinking, okay, this is going to kind of screw her because she's going to have to count that as income. So the new reporting requirement will ensure that small businesses that receive payments through these apps are paying their fair share of taxes on them. I get that. Beginning 1 January, third-party payment processors are now required to report such transactions. Though businesses were always required to self-report such incomes to the IRS, many often did not keep a record of their smaller transactions. So, as I read further, the new tax law was part of the 2021 America Rescue Plan, which passed with no Republican votes. Because you lose the majority, you get kind of walked all over. The new rule is only for goods and services transactions, not personal, not like paying a roommate for rent or reimbursing a friend. Because I look at, and I tell her all the time, dude, put your transactions on Venmo. If you use Venmo, you know this. You can put your transactions on private. I can see, okay, my daughter, bought coffee, or she got paid for soup, or she went to go see Harry Styles in Seattle. So there was a whole bunch of Venmo transactions between all of the friends and stuff. Those aren't what the government's looking at. They're looking at businesses that accept fees for services rendered. So now the cash apps are now going to be required to send 1099-K forms to businesses with electronic transactions greater than $600. The new charge, or the new change, will apply for the 2022 tax season.
Small businesses, here's the tip. If you need paid, keep the transactions under $600 at that point.
Well, it's like $600 a year. It's like it's a
Is it? Oh, really?
It's a cumulative thing. Yeah.
Because I know in like Virginia, there's this weird stipulation that if you made under $600 like on a private check, you did not need to report that to the state. So if I was working a subcontracting job, I'd be like, hey, split the checks up.
Yeah, I'll pay you $300 twice, yes. Or I'll pay you, $301 and then $299.
Exactly.
So here we got next month. We got the Super Bowl coming. Super Bowl's coming. It's going to be at SoFi Stadium in California. Oops, that's not it. That's it. So there's SoFi Stadium in California. Beautiful. It's the most expensive sports arena.
The crab?
No. I don't think we're going to get to the crab story. I don't think we're going to get to the crab story.
I was about to say, that looks like California.
So the NFL, not surprisingly, is in the midst of a rise in COVID-19 cases, COOF cases, and has looked into other potential sites for next month's Super Bowl. This is not unusual at all. And I think they've been doing it for a while. The Super Bowl 2009 or 10 here in Texas, right here, we had this horrible ice storm that happened the week of Super Bowl week. I mean, people were off of work. No one could drive on the interstates. It was fucking awful. It was really, really awful. So with Los Angeles being the site for this year's title game and restrictions increasing for attendance of indoor events, it has become more and more noteworthy that this is happening. Quote, we plan on playing Super Bowl 56 as scheduled at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles on Sunday, February 13th. NFL spokesman Brian McCarthy said on Wednesday, as part of our standard contingency planning process, we always look for other locations. AT&T Stadium here in Arlington is on the short list. The home of the Dallas Cowboys. It's one of the facilities that were contacted to host Super Bowl 56. The stadium, let me pull up this thing because my shit's all weird. That one's AT&T Stadium. So the AT&T Stadium that you see right there in the lower right hosted the 2021 Rose Bowl because they couldn't do it in California. It was switched from Pasadena because of the COVID-19 restrictions that were in place in California. So with the way Gavin Newsom, and this is my opinion, the way that he's running the state of California, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Super Bowl was played somewhere else this year other than California. So I did a little bit of looking, and SoFi Stadium, boy, and that's a beautiful state because what you're seeing there on the top there, that's a video screen.
That's awesome.
AT&T Stadium has a humongous video screen, and it gets hit a lot like by punts. You know, the punter will go and kick a ball, and it'll hit the screen. But it's a massive ass screen. That's a massive ass screen, but I don't think a punter can hit that. So I looked. SoFi Stadium was built in 2020. It seats 70,240 people on a good day, and it can be expanded to seat 100,240 people. AT&T Stadium, on the lower right, was built in 2009. It seats 80,000, and it can seat up to 105,000 people. So in 2009, AT&T Stadium cost $1.15 billion to build. The SoFi Stadium in California, $5 billion. It's like 4.95 something billion dollars. That's a whole lot of dara.
A lot of money.
It's a whole lot of money, and we're talking about the like economics of the like the total cost in 2009 was 1.15 billion. 2020 was 5 billion. I couldn't see a comparison between 2009 and today. That's a lot. SoFi Stadium was funded completely privately, but after it was built, they looked for some concessions, some tax concessions from California, from the state. Jerry World here in Arlington, 1.15 billion. I think Jerry paid for half of that, and the rest was taxpayer funded. Thank you, City of Arlington, because they also built. Oh my gosh, I see what you're doing there. The Texas Rangers ballpark was built much the same way, with a lot of taxpayer funded.
This is stupid, though. This is my.
That's why I don't want to move to. I'm looking to buy another house, but I'm not going to move to Arlington because there's this extra tax because you live in Arlington, because you gotta pay for stuff. Okay, I've got to take a break here because Pookie is convulsing. That means he has to urinate. Anyway, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have Carl from Back the Heroes Rumble going to be back with us. And this is like his third or fourth appearance. So this is going to be awesome. So hang out with us. We are going to take a break, and we're going to be back in just a little bit. Radio.
This is Randy Couture, and you're listening to WTF Nation Radio.
WTF Nation Radio.
All right, everybody, we are back with part 2 of Friday Night Freedom here on WTF Nation Radio. We are joined by Carl Whalen from Back the Heroes Rumble. And now that I can't like walk and chew gum at the same time, I'm going to go and try to pull his video up. This is going to be awesome.
You can do it.
I see. There we go. Look at this. Everything's working swimmingly. I wish I could bring Pookie in here. I see Pookie on one screen, but not the other. But we're going to get this to work.
You know, if you do things like this all the time, you could say, if people ask you why, just say, oh, I do it just cause.
Just cause. That's me. So Pookie is still here with us. We just don't see his video, but I've got Carl here from Back the Heroes Rumble, man. Thank you for joining us. Happy New Year to you.
Oh, Happy New Year. Thanks for having us again, man. It's always a fun time.
Absolutely, dude. Man, how was your Christmas holiday, man? Did you have a lot of, I don't know, COVID scares, weather, family coming in?
We didn't have really any COVID scares, I would say. We had a really good time, though. My father-in-law came into town. My mother came over with my younger sisters, and my middle sister came, my brother came, and we had a blast. We had a lot of fun. My brother wound up getting the most gift this year. Sometimes it's unintentional. It's an unintended consequence. Sometimes one person indelibly always gets a lot more gifts than the rest. So then we try to compensate that the next year.
You know what's crazy? I've got 3 nieces, and one of the nieces, she's 10. She just turned 10. And we had like a family Christmas on Christmas Eve. And then she's like, okay, I really hope Santa brings my gift. I'm like, what did you ask for? She's like, I really want a mini fridge. You want a what? and here I am thinking mini fridge, being in the Army, in the barracks, you had mini fridges. I'm like, why would you want a mini fridge? What are you going to put a case or 2 of beer in there for you when you game or when you do your homework? She's like, no, I just want to have like snacks and drinks in there, so I can have stuff in there when my friends come. And Santa ended up bringing her a mini fridge, but it was super, super small. It was
6 cans in it, mini fridge.
I think you can fit in total maybe 3 bottles of water, like those 16-ounce water bottles. And that's it.
What's the point? Better off with a thermos.
I know but it's a minute. That's what she wanted for Christmas. And Santa beat down his elves and said, she wants a mini fridge, so make her a mini fridge.
Scoured the Arctic Circle for screws.
I mean, really? Do you really need a fridge in the Arctic?
No. So, I'm sure that's what they had to do, right?
They figured out how to make one, and so she's got her mini fridge. And then mom and actually it was more dad was like, at the beginning of the year, we're putting new carpet in your room. So if you jack it up, we're taking the mini fridge. So she's a responsible kid. Both of the girls are very responsible. So
what made Christmas fun for us this year was simply because last year, as you remember, our youngest, Theodore, was under a year old. It was his first Christmas. He don't remember jack about that. Well, this year it was like everything was exciting to him.
It was all about him.
Oh yeah, he got showered with gifts from everybody in the family because we told him, don't bring any more toys, just clothes. And people still brought toys.
Everyone needs underwear and underwear and socks and all that crap that you kind of appreciate when you get older.
Yeah. Well, right after Christmas, I had the worst and craziest Christmas debacle ever. So it was like day after Christmas, I'm watching my son. He chucked something at the TV, not knowing that the TV, was off, so I didn't see the damage. Well, then I look back at the TV and turn it on when I put him up for a nap, and and I got an 86-inch 4K TV, dude. I took forever to pay that thing off, and I had to go out and buy a new one. I was like, I just paid this thing off a year ago. So, yeah, and it was a DVD case, empty DVD case. He chucked at the TV just having fun being goofy. Like no Mo Garcia part of that shit.
It's amazing how much these things cost and then how little it takes to render them useless.
I tried to get it repaired, and they said, well, you might want to get a new one. I said, why? They're like, it's going to cost you $900 to fix this TV because it's an LED. And I'm like, oh. But you know what? He's so cute. I deal with it. But if he was like 10, I'd probably want to murder him.
It wasn't a malicious thing. It wasn't like he got pissed off at a video game and then broke the TV. That would have been a different story.
That would have been a different side of Dad.
You know what's weird? They have that OLED now. It's like super, super clean. And you look at a picture of, let's say, an aquarium, and it looks like you're in the water. We watched, on Christmas Eve, we watched It's a Wonderful Life. And the picture was so clear, it looked like I was sitting in a theater and there were actors in front of me. That's how clear it was. It was amazing.
So they have the OLED, which is omitting light emitting diode. And then you've got the QLED, which is quasi light emitting diode. And then you've got this ULED thing, which is weird because it basically, it comes from, you have the lights coming from the back of the TV normally. This is coming from the side. So it's side lit, the ULED TVs.
That seems to me it would throw the shadows off, or by the time you get to the middle, you're kind of jacked up. I don't know the technology.
It looked pretty good.
I've got the same flat screen that I've had since 2010, so I'm good, and I'm fine. And I see all this new stuff, and I'm like, wow, that's really clear. And then I get back to my normal stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. I like this. I prefer this. I'm so frugal when it comes to money. I don't care that much about. I like to watch shows. I'm not hung up on the quality of the video.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you put my TV on the wall, you would think, oh my God, the thing's gargantuan. It actually doesn't look that big because I got a big giant wall with like nothing on it.
Yeah, you got to make up that space. So what's going on with Back the Heroes Rumble, man? You're always here, and you're honoring veterans. You're honoring fallen veterans. You do car shows and cool stuff like that. What you got going on now?
So a lot of people might be tuning in be the first time, so I'm going to quickly just tell them, the organization was started in 2019 for us to honor fallen police, fire, military, died in the line of duty, and we alternate each year with the show. And it evolved into another program that we do with other fundraisers to help departments with unmet needs and resources like trauma kits, radios, body cameras, you name it. If there's something that they need that they don't have the budget for, especially the smaller departments, we try to reach out of our pockets and take care of that.
And the smaller departments don't have that kind of budget.
Most do not. Now, where they hurt in budget, they get grants. But right now, with everything being so COVID related, it's pretty hard to get those grants right now. So there's a lot of small departments that are, unfortunately, I've had two in our 3-state region that we serve just get disbanded recently because the city disbanded itself because COVID just destroyed them financially. So that's why you see those things like those tax things you were talking about with AT&T. You see TIFs, the tax incentive funding, where they get funds from other businesses around to help with development. So they lean on those, even police departments, fire departments. Hell, I know a few that are getting paid with credits from their marijuana distributing centers. I mean, I'm not kidding you. They'll actually receive a percentage of their proceeds from a marijuana distribution center.
That's actually legit.
There's so much revenue in the recreational marijuana business. Yeah. Let go of some of those funds, man. Uh-oh.
Yeah. I do that just to be funny. But in all seriousness, I mean, we helped a department that was solistically funded by that organization. They were going to use it as a police department, and then marijuana was legalized for medicinal use, and they said, well, can we buy that off of the agency? And in return also give you a percentage of our money through TIFs and roll that over to your police department. Well, there was an agreement where 80% of it went to the fire department and 20 went to the police department because the fire department's much bigger. It didn't help the police department very much, so we were glad.
More shit catches on fire.
Right. So, it is what it is. But those are the kind of people we try to help. But we try to help everybody, all three state entities. 2021 was a really good year for us. Every year we've steadily grown in financial contributions made to organization and impact and return. Last year we had $23,664 in 2020, right? 2021, I've just finished doing the 990 form. $40,968 this year.
You doubled.
Almost. It was pretty cool. A lot of it was sponsors that are, our fundraisers, especially AT&T. I mean, they were $7,500 by themselves between two events. But our car show, we honored George Del Rio from Dayton Police Department. We honored Jason Ellis from Bardstown, Kentucky Police Department. These two were both killed in the line of duty, unfortunately. Their families were there. Huge success. The car show was our third year doing it, and our biggest show before that year was 167 cars. This past one, 281 show vehicles. It was a huge growth.
And it's not like me driving up there with a Ford Fusion. These are like legit, badass, very awesome cars.
There's a video on our website where it actually shows everybody how our car show was, how we went. It's also on our Facebook. And if you just go in there and look at our videos, you'll find it. We raised $7,350 for those two families, and we were able to cut the checks right there and give them to them. And
holy crap!
Yeah,
really?
I mean, it was huge. And other than the run of the mill, every now and again, you can't make every single soul happy that ends in a car show. You always got those trophy hunters that are like, because they didn't get an award, they feel snubbed. But outside of that, we literally had no complaints. Everybody was like, despite you being understaffed because volunteerism was down last year. No surprise because of COVID. And other reasons I won't note here. We still had a hell of an event. We did great. And 73% for year 2021, increased gross receipts. I mean, I couldn't be happier as an executive director. My wife and I are tickled to death to see this. The region we support and serve, seeing so many people, even nationally, coming in contributing to our cause. Fallen Hero Network, you probably had them on sometime in December. We just now formed a national strategic partnership with them, where there's a 9/11 World Trade Center interactive exhibit. He told you about that. He's building a thing around. We're going to be one of the benefactors of that, touring across the 48-month tour across the nation, and that's going to do so much for our programs and what we do.
You got to come to Texas, man.
Yeah. My wife's got some family, and she's got a really close friend, might as well be a sister, who lives in Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, actually.
Sweet. It's my backyard.
So definitely we'll have to come see you. Same goes to you. I know this last year with everything going on, and you guys weren't able to make it up last year. I think you guys definitely want to come up to our car show this year coming up. Because on August 6th, our car show will be honoring two. It's military, so you're the military. Two of the 13 that we unfortunately lost on our exit from Afghanistan.
What a shit show that was.
Oh, I won't even go there because I even promised the family I'll make it as apolitical as possible with the event, because unfortunately there's unintended connections with political, because everybody's taking it political. It's a midterm, right? But here's what I told them. I've got Corporal Humberto Sanchez from Northern Indiana. He is going from Logansville, Indiana. He is coming. His family is coming to our show. He's being honored. And then we've got U.S. Navy Hospital Medical Corpsman Maxton Soviak from Berlin. I think it's Berlin Heights in northern Ohio. So I've got those two guys we're going to be honoring, and all proceeds will go to them. We have a goal in mind, though. We're going to try to raise $8,000, if not more, for them this year. So we got some new additions to the show. Care if I share real quick?
Oh, do it.
So obviously we're going to increase trophies because the bigger the show, the more trophies you want to give out. Try to keep people happy, right? Our partnership last year, one of the other big partnerships we made was Cincinnati Reds. Their Hall of Fame and Museum in particular wants to put on, how the old school, when the Reds first started, they were the Red Stockings, and 1869 was their first team, right? Well, they have guys from the Hall of Fame that volunteer, dress up, and play baseball games.
Oh, cool.
And so it's not going to be an admission-based game. It's going to be free for everybody to come and see and watch them from 1 to 3 o'clock during our car show time at a ball field that's tethered to the same park we're having this car show every year, and they're going to play a baseball game. Kids will be able to buy hot dogs for $1 a piece so they can have a hot dog and watch baseball, just straight up Americana. That's not all, though. We're also going to be adding live music to our event this year. We've got 3 really hard-knock, family-friendly country rock, 80s rock, and contemporary rock bands and performance acts that are going to come and perform 3 one-hour segments during our event to kind of fill that dead space while people are waiting for the judges to give out the awards.
Are you still looking for artists, or you have it all filled up?
I have not solidified 3 artists yet. I'm kind of getting a list together. I've got a budget that I'm going to stick to.
Right.
We try to do guys that aren't going to ask for like 50,000, 80,000, 100, that shit. We're not going anywhere near that big because we don't have that kind of budget, 1. And 2, 1, we don't need a writer because there's no light show going to be emitting for the show. We're just going to have a professional sound system set up by a local company and have these bands come out and play. And so those are the things we're going to be doing in addition to what we normally do with our car show.
So if you're looking for more artists, I mean, Dave Bray is always there because he's like Mr. American, God bless the USA type, just awesome. He's just a really good. We've had him on the show before. Dave Bray is a good artist, country. Peyton Howie, I've had her on the show. She's not kind of getting started. She's been cutting her teeth in Nashville for the longest time. Peyton Howie is really good, and oh my gosh, the name just escaped my brain here. Another one that I haven't seen a lot of new stuff come out, and he's really, really awesome. Oh, okay, we're doing this live here because I'm going to look his name up.
Just call HBO because it's live.
Talk amongst yourselves. Oh my goodness.
How's the weather down there in Texas?
Oh, right now it's cold. Right now it's cold.
No, yeah, cold.
Try 5 below, cause
no, that's not good. I don't approve of that.
80 here in South Carolina.
Is it still? Ago. I mean, your temperature never broke. It's just been all things and stuff.
Warm. It's been warm and perfect.
It's like a
crazy
parliament,
man. Well, it's like I tell everybody: if it's gonna be fucking cold, give me the snow. Otherwise, go the fuck away.
Yeah, if it's gonna be cold, there better be snow on the ground. It's like when I get stuck in traffic, I better see a bloody mess whenever I pass the wreck. And if it's just dumbasses being dumbasses, that would piss me off more than seeing a bloody mess on the side of the road.
I'm sorry, Kaz. Don't hate me. I'm one of those guys that drives his Challenger in the snow to see how far I can get. But I clean it up afterwards before the spring starts, so we have fun. Speaking of which, with the Challenger, Sound Off Signal is a national public safety equipment installer for police vehicles, EMS, fire, even some military and border patrol. They install lights and sirens and equipment into cruisers and police vehicles. Well, thanks to Sound Off Signal, a connection made through Fallen Hero Network, as well as their installer, the Tri-State Public Safety Equipment Incorporated, they installed lights and sirens in my vehicle for parades and events. No, I'm not pulling pull over, I promise. I actually even had a nightmare once where I accidentally had the light go on and it wouldn't come off, and I got pulled over. So trust me, I'm not going to be stupid.
There are lots of stupid folks out there that actually will take an old Ford, Crown Vic, and get lights put on there and just do nefarious crap and pull people over and shit.
We've got a couple in our Cincinnati area that are doing that shit right now, and they're about to get caught because everybody's looking for it. It's like, that's don't do things that could get you caught and in trouble. Just stay low. Do it at events when it's sitting there stationary and not affecting everybody's daily lives.
When it's expected. So
right.
Derek Jones was the other artist that I was talking about. Derek Jones.
Got it. Derek
Jones.
I'll have to get that list from you through Amy, and she could bring it to our board meeting Sunday.
I will. Yes, put her to work. She's out of the danger zone with the COVID and stuff. So.
Oh yeah, well yeah, my boy he might have been exposed, so we've had to isolate him for a few days just to make sure. But he's been asymptomatic, so he should be fine. It's been like 4 days, so we'll see.
Good, man.
But my wife and I were vaccinated because we figured if we got to get it because of a job for her, we're going to do the one and done. So I won't go into the political climate, but I will say this. I think it's quite interesting that they're looking at trying to still mandate them fucking things. I'm like, dude, you got like 88% of the population vaccinated. The 12 that haven't won't. And then Ben Swan just came out with this thing about how there's all these people that are in the hospital with COVID but aren't in there because of, and of course they're inflating the numbers, and the CDC's admitted that now. And it's like, well, guys, how many more times are you going to wait for the CDC to admit that we told you so on so many fronts?
I don't think it's going to happen, and it's really not worth talking about. I'm not saying change the subject. I'm just like, there's people there are people out there that are going to either get it or not. As far as the Acoof spray, which is like what we call it, because if we call it what it is, we usually get like a flag. There are people that come down with it, and it's like my brother tested positive while I was up down in Chicago. It's up in Chicago for me. He just got sniffles, cough, that kind of stuff. It wasn't bad. What it's bad for is people who are obese, out of shape.
Yes, absolutely.
Otherwise compromised.
Not downplaying the virus. I'm just saying simply some of the things where they're trying to force people to do it against their will. It's
forcing people. No,
thing to do.
I don't care if it's bubonic plague and they come up with some kind of an effective thing that keeps you from getting the bubonic plague. If you don't want to get it, don't get it.
Right.
Don't force people to inject themselves with something if it's against if it's against their will. That's the message.
Exactly. That's what I meant by it. I just don't want anybody to think I don't take it seriously. I mean, we provided COVID-19 needs for first responders last year and the year before during the peak of COVID. And what I mean by the peak is the first big peak, 2020. So believe me, I believe in the whole thing. I just think some of it's been blown way out of proportion is all I'm going to say.
So 2022 is going to be a big year for you. Do you get do you cycle through like the year of the soldier, the year of the fallen police officer, firefighter, or so on and so forth, and you supplement this by like car shows? I got to see one of these car shows.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do. We alternate between, and I mean, literally, we wait a month, and we're right in here on, say, the car shows in August every year. So at the middle to end of September, we're sitting in on a board meeting and going, all right, what do you guys got? Who do you want to honor? Everybody goes around the table and says, I got this person and this person from these states. And we try to spread it to as many different parts of each state as possible. We also make an intent to not let ethnic background have an influence on it, because I know some organizations do that. We don't. That has no bearing on what we decide.
Why should it?
It shouldn't. No, you're right. But because there's heroes of all different walks of life, right? And this year's happens to be military. And this past year, we just started doing 2 heroes a show. So this is our second year having 2 heroes we're honoring. Do I think we'll ever go higher than 2? Probably not.
I hope not. I hope not. I hope you have a year that's like 0. We're just gonna have a badass fucking car show with nothing. That would be great.
Well, and here's the other thing too, Cause. What we also like to do is to bring these families from the previous shows back, wearing shirts that are part of the welcoming team with my wife Andrea, who's the contact liaison, and they bring them in because they understand what it's like to lose their loved ones. So they're there as a support network and to share in the success and to make sure that this new family we've chosen enjoys themselves. Best moment ever for last year's car show, and Amy will contest to it, or Mom as you guys call her. She will tell you guys this. We had, what was she, Andrea? 6 years old, 5 years old? Granddaughter of George Del Rio. Everybody's asking her. She's beaming ear to ear, and her grandfather just passed away a couple years ago. So we're like, really happy to see they're all enjoying themselves, both families. But then she just like icing on the top of the cake. This is the best day ever. Made every one of us go, okay, it's raining in here.
Who's cutting onions?
Right. So I mean, it's just moments like that just make it that much better. Just to see that we have that positive of an impact on the youngest of the, our motto now for the car show is honor their sacrifice, support their legacy. That's
oh my gosh, that's really good. That's really good.
And so I'm gonna cue a quote here for Amy. Hey, make sure you write that down, marketing director.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, write it down. Someone write it down because we're gonna forget. I'll have to go back and listen to the podcast, which you can get from WTFNationRadio.com, and we have every one of our podcasts are there, and you can download them.
Again, it's honor their sacrifice, support their legacy.
That is, I'm going to put this in the chat. Honor.
And that is the message we want to send when we do this car show every year. It's not about just doing a car show, although it's a lot of fun and it's also exhausting. It's the whole totality of you will. When people say, what's Back to Heroes Rumble? Why do you name it that? Well, we're backing our heroes because of the shaking and quaking rumble, if you will, to the core of losing a pillar in our community, police officer, firefighter, soldier, sailor, Marine, Air Force, airman, whatever you call. That loss shook us. And then to have the ground shake with joy, excitement, and just celebrating that person's life and thanking their family for their sacrifice.
It doesn't only take them out of the community, it takes them out of their families.
Exactly. I mean, it'll cripple them for a long time, some of them. And we got to catch them when they fall. And that's part of the program, Operation Never Forget, is what this car show is about. This past year, we also had a first honor. It was called the Gala of Honor. And what we did was we recognized a police officer and a firefighter, which happened to also be a dispatcher of the year in Indiana. And we honored a volunteer of the year and an organization that gave us the greatest support during our first 3 years of inception, because it was kind of like a coming together for the first 3 years, being our first, gala. But it was a huge success. We still raised, I want to say $6,800 in surplus to what we had to pay for everything. So we carried over a lot more for this year over to so where we can immediately start making an impact to a police department and fire department. And our next one coming up this year is going to be a large part of what the Cincinnati Reds organization partnership we have does. And we may even be partnering with the Bengals here soon, because we're working on talking to them about that as well. And it's going to be a 2-day event moved up to Veterans Day weekend. So we're really excited about that.
That's good timing right there. These sports organizations, they're good with this. I mean, they have to be good with this. How could you not be good with this?
Well, and see, a lot of people try to, again, unfortunately, we're in that little bit of a dichotomous mantra, if you will. There's a lot of people there's hardly anybody that won't support fire EMS, right? But then you've got the people that hate the police, okay? You've got the people that look at the military as bootlickers, this crazy crap that's came out in the last couple of years.
Right.
But bottom line is a majority of people, kind, caring, thankful, grateful Americans.
It's the silent, it's really the silent majority. They're just like, look at all this crap going on. And then they're like, we're just going to drive on and make this country go forward. And to hell with all of these fuckers making noise.
Yeah.
We're going to take care of shit on the down low.
I'm just going to say it the best I've seen it on memes on Facebook. There is a such thing as supporting your first responders, your police, your fire, your military, and supporting racial equality. There is a such thing as doing both.
I don't know, man. I've never, every time I see this, and this is just me speaking, I'm just like, if you break the law, I don't care what your color is. I don't care what your gender is. You're breaking the law. You're breaking the law. There's a if you qualify here, then it doesn't matter what your color is, what your gender is. You're breaking the law. You're going to go to jail, or I'm going to write you a citation if I'm a police officer. If your house is on fire, I don't care what color your fucking family is. I'm going to put it out.
My mom said it best. Beauty and kindness, or beauty is only skin deep, ugly is to the bone. It does not matter what you look like. It's what you do that matters, especially when no one's looking. And your moral character and the way you conduct yourself on a day in, day out basis, that's what matters to me. I could give a shit about the rest of it. I don't even care if you're atheist or a Satanist. As long as you're a kind person to people and you respect people's views, I have no problem with you. That's how I look at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Everyone comes to the table with whatever they bring to it. It's just, man, if you're a dick, man, guess what? You're going to get you're going to get thrown back on.
Oh yeah, I could be a real prick when people piss me off.
but you can't. But you can't. You just have to say, "Oh, I understand your point," and be all, and political in your own right. Is it hard to approach businesses saying, "Here, this is what we do," and in the climate of, all cops are bastards, just like you said, is it hard to find let's pick, and I'm not picking specifically, just let's pick the Gap. The Gap, they sell clothes. Hey, we would like for you to sponsor this. Do they always fall back on, hey, how is this going to affect our image?
I'm never behind the closed doors conversations for businesses, but I will tell you this, 99 times out of 100 times that I've reached out to a business for support of our cause, it's either a hell yes, yes, but we can only do this, or it's a get to us next year where our budget will probably have money, we want to help. I don't really hear, I heard one legit, no, I don't care for that, thanks, and hung up on me. One out of, how many did you say, honey, 1,200 businesses I reached out to last year alone?
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a hit list that's a mile long, and I'm telling you, only one. And I'll never reach back out to them. I won't, because, I respect their wishes. But people care about their first responders, their military, and they really care when they hear a family grieving the loss of said loved one. It's one thing if they've lived a long life, then yes, you want to still recognize their service. But if they died in the line of duty, it's a shortened life. It's a tragic upbringing for the child or for the spouse to one night have their loved one laying next to them and the next day they're gone. We got to remember that is the most important thing to remember. Is it's like a knife cutting out a part of you never get back. And while we're not trying to fill that hole, we're trying to supplement it with not just money and walking away, like we say in our mission statement. We like to connect them with family that can help them feel like they're not alone, that other people understand what they're going through, and they can lean on them if they need to. Building a support network. Hey, I'm having a bad day. I'm missing my so-and-so. Can I give you a call? Yeah, that's what we want to do. We want to build that network and then show other businesses an opportunity to say, despite the political climate, we got your six.
Kyla Coletti comes to mind, and that just is the exact way that you did things. Her husband, his name was Joseph Coletti.
You got it.
And you picked her up and carried her forward in the most dark time of her life, and it's just that was great. That was like one of our best shows, is when she was on talking about the work that you do and the work that you did for her, you know, and all of the work that you did for her, not even knowing that you were doing work for her, which is kind of the best part of the story.
Those are the impacts we want to make. It's nice to say, hey, here's some money for your kids so they can go to college, or because we know they're going to get a war orphan scholarship for the military.
You can't just throw money at an issue and hope that
Right.
it fixes itself.
I mean, it's nice, but I always hear this. Every single family I've said this, like, oh, we don't care for the money. I'm like, well, it's yours, so you can do whatever you want with it, but we're not keeping it. It's yours. If there's surplus from sponsorships, we'll use that to help prevent loss of life in law enforcement and first responders like fire EMS. But that's spelled out in our paperwork. But when it comes to day of event, money, registrations, T-shirt sales, auctions, raffle, that's their money. Legally, I'm required to at least report the funds, even if I give it to them. The least I could do is do that, though, because I'm not profiting. That's blood money. That's not for us to keep. That's for their family. So that's why we never keep that money. That money, nope. And by the way, we do not make a dime as compensation or reimbursement or anything crazy like that. It all goes to what the cost to operate and literally to the people we're serving. And it'll never go differently unless something crazy happened and I had to pay somebody to be a financial advisor to manage our funds. That would probably be the worst case scenario. But I will never take a penny.
That really speaks a lot. You're just this conduit from which things flow into and then out of. And you're happy when the balance sheet is zero.
You're breaking up a little bit. I didn't hear that last part.
I said you're just a conduit which things flow into and then out of, and then you're happy when the balance sheet is zero because you've done your job.
If there's a surplus, I immediately go, okay, where can we spend this to make an impact at the very beginning of the next year, which is what we're doing with some of the funds. Yeah, you're right. And honestly, I understand some people, believe me, 50 hours a week is a bare minimum for me on my peak weeks of fundraising. I'm 80 hours a week working hard on the car shows and stuff like that. I understand there's people that make a living doing some of the stuff, and I can get it if you're making 50, 60,000 because you're running a national nonprofit. Hey, if that's what you need to do, hey, fine. I've got my benefits to live off of. If I didn't have that, I would still feel real icky about trying to dip into that as a salary, but I don't have to. And so I won't. And you know,
and all of your shit is in public. It's like, here, this is my foundation, and this is what we do. Every nickel, dime, and quarter is accounted for.
Exactly. And you know, if anybody ever reached out to us and said, hey, can I see your financial records? Sure, absolutely. What's your email address? Omit any bank statements, you know, with the numbers, and just send it to them. It's public record. It's called a public charity for a reason. Yeah. You deserve to know, and we need to be transparent about it. And that's how all nonprofits got to work. Now, this year is the first year, even though we didn't meet the threshold for the IRS to require us to do so. I mean, if you make over $50,000 on average every year, you're supposed to do the long form 990, right? Which tells you every penny of where everything goes. Otherwise, you do the short form that says, hey, I received less than $50,000. No, none of the money is exempted from tax exempt entity because it was all given away. And my balance ledger is less than $100,000. That's all you have to answer normally. This is the first year we're doing long form. So that'll be up on our website here in a few months.
By requirement or just because?
My own records.
Is by requirement or just because?
Eventually we're going to be by requirement, but since we were at 40,000 this year, it's not required. It's because I want our donors to know that they can trust us. I want them to see where their money goes. And I want them to see the growth and impact, because our goal as a nonprofit is to have at least 80% go to impact, and only 20% or less go to cost to operate. Right now, we're not quite there yet, but we are building closely to that goal.
You're getting so close. You're getting so close. We this is our fourth meeting, I guess. Two were official, and then I'm sorry, three. This is the third, which were like official. Hey, Back the Heroes Rumble is going to be on the show, and then you had one other you just called in, and it was great. But you have always been, and Back the Heroes Rumble has always been very forthright to the money that they take in and the money that they give out, and it's very apparent as to what you do, and it's unlike a lot of other 501c. Are you a 501c3?
Yes, yeah. 501c3s are the public corporations. They're incorporated. 501c4s are like those veteran fraternities, like the VFW, American Legion.
Gotcha.
And even Wounded Warrior Project. They're a 501c3 and they have a 501c4. But that's the difference between the two if you ever wanted to know. I've been doing coursework too. See, I didn't grow up know how to run a business, run a nonprofit. I've been taking courses that thankfully there's a nonprofit that provides these courses to educate you on how to operate. I've been learning these last 3 years, guys, and I'm still learning. But you know what?
And you've got a team behind you. I mean, you've got
my best.
You've got a team behind you.
That's exactly what I was about to say. You took the words right out. I mean, a really great team. I had one of my most influential board members finally come back after he got his medical issues squared away as our business relations VP, Tim Craig. He actually was my mentor because he was a vice president of the inkjet division for Lexmark, and he knows how to operate a business. He knows from the ground up how to work up and do things. So if I ever needed advice to how to run a business or how to handle an issue, he was always my first go-to, and he mentored me very well. And so I'm so glad to have him back because he's my right-hand man when it comes to business operations. You
got to surround your people you got to surround yourself and your effort with good people, and it sounds like you're doing that.
Trying. It's hard, man, especially when there's no salary or compensation. Especially get to those, Fortune 500 company CEOs or CFOs, getting one of them to come down and look at our less than $100,000 operation nonprofit. They love our cause, but getting any of them to come and be an active participant and be a board member, I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but so far I've gotten this kind of forget you kind of feeling. And that's the part that hurts the most. Getting volunteers at events is starting to grow a little, but getting board members where we have people that have heating impacts in the community, in the business world, to expand our horizons and get the sport to grow. I mean, that's something we're still struggling to find because a lot of these guys are buckling down and making sure they're thinning out their herd and making more money. And it's unfortunately what corporate America is like. And I'm not knocking them. It's just, it's hard for us.
What I think, and even though when you get those really soft no's, the really soft nose, like, hey, we're trying to, cut some corners and hit us back next year, is a soft no. It's not a hard no, like, no, we don't like what you're doing.
Like
never
that
come
one
back.
Business that said
right.
No.
I can't help but think that it's more about images. If we are on the record as supporting this organization that supports police, firefighters, and fallen veterans, then we are. It's like having a like on Twitter. That means that you all of a sudden agree with everything they say. Or, so if I support this cause, which is Back the Heroes Rumble, which does awesome things, that means that all of a sudden you support everything that the police department does, even the bad cops.
Yeah, and I think what's unfair about that kind of statement is, like I said, there's a such thing as called backing the blue and wanting racial equality in policing. I'm no idiot. I know that there's been a lot. I mean, it's just on the fucking news the other day. There was a black man that was wrongly incarcerated for 18 years or something like that. And then he got released because DNA evidence, because science advanced, proven that he was not the man that committed that crime. And I'm like, but because he was black, at this instance, that's exactly what happened. They tried to force him through the criminal justice system and push him to basically perjure himself into a crime so they could try him and find him guilty. A lot of law enforcement's changing. There's not a lot of that going on anymore. I mean, yeah, there's still some parts of it, and we do need to fix it. But mass majority, like 95% of law enforcement, these guys are just like us. They wake up, put their pants on the same way, and they go out, kiss their loved ones, say, "I'll see you later."
They just want to come home. They want to come home at the end of the day and see their kids.
Yes. Exactly. Separate issue. So when I told you about Operation Open Arms and how we try to help, we have another program we haven't gotten funding yet for. And damn it, if Bob has, God is my witness. I almost said it like fucking Rugrats. Bob is my witness. As God is my witness, I'm Operation Safety Net, providing emergency needs, especially for all three entities: police, fire, and, oh my God, unfortunately, I hate saying this, we're 2022, military. You see all these people on the news in the military struggling to feed their families. That's unacceptable. I want to be able to help those kind of families. And, I've got a way to do it where if somebody shells out money to be an ambassador for Operation Safety Net at these variant levels, I can get their damn logo placed on a truck that says "I support police and fire" and all over the place on a big rig, and it's gorgeous artwork with Fallen Hero Network. And they'll drive you across the nation, 48 lower states, 150,000 impressions a day, which are normally $1.80 a pop for the cost, but for pennies on the dollar, and you're supporting our mission and helping the very people we need to help. So I have ways to do that.
That's backtheheroesrumble.com, right?
Yes, backtheheroesrumble.com. More specifically, if you type in /home/ well, actually, just go to backtheheroesrumble.com, click on our programs. The safety net link is, I think I took it down temporarily because I'm going to get some better artwork on it. It looks really very linear and I want to get some depth to it, make it look nicer, because I'm my own IT guy. That's how I lower costs for a nonprofit. I put our website together. I have another company that watches the security and software for it, but I designed the whole website, and I learned on the fly. And when I say the money goes to what we're doing, I'm trying my damnedest to make sure that happens. And the support we get from people like some of your viewers, I know a few of them have been supporters. I know you guys have been. The public in person, my goodness, in person solicitation is an all-time high. That and Facebook, we've just been getting hits, and it's been awesome.
So what's your Facebook page? Is it Back the Heroes Rumble? I tagged you in the description of the show here on Facebook. Okay.
That is our Facebook. We
for a while it was Back the Blue Rumble.
Instagram. Correct. It still is legally, but our doing business as name is Back the Heroes Rumble.
Gotcha.
And like I said, it's just to convey the message that it's not just police we're supporting. It's all our heroes.
It's kind of like having that very first email address.
BackTheBlueRumble@gmail.
Yeah, no, or it's just like, it's like, hey, like Massive Gamer 123 at Gmail or at AOL.com or whatever, and then you're like stuck with that for forever.
Or first and last name, specific year that you created it at Yahoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty generic. But like I said, I'm not a man with all the answers. I don't know everything when it comes to nonprofit world, but when you have to run as an executive director and treasurer, when you've never done this before and you learn it on the fly, I mean, and I literally seek help everywhere so I don't screw this up, but I'll tell you, it's hard. It's a lot of hard work doing what we do.
I'd like to see your Google search history.
My Google search history? Okay.
How the fuck do you do this?
Believe it or not, what the number one search you'll see for me is looking for agencies throughout the 3 states that have a budget of less than $100,000.
Oh, you see, you're very, very specific.
Well, and the reason why I do that is because I'm looking for small police and fire departments who maybe only serve a small jurisdiction, because I want to see the greatest impact I can make. If I'm helping one small department that has maybe a $500,000 budget and they just needed help with a few radios, that's going to be a limited impact. But last year we helped Brown County Sheriff's Office. They served the entire fucking county of 3.2, no, I'm sorry, I'm over conflating the numbers. They were like 480,000 people versus just one jurisdiction. It's the entire county.
Yeah.
So that's why we help them with trauma kits, because then we're serving the entire county, because these kits can be used on not just police but civilians.
Mm-hmm.
It's first responder first aid kits with cat tourniquet. Gunshot victims are at an all-time high this year. That very kit we provide has everything you need to treat the gunshot victim until EMS arrives. So
you're in that
purpose for our stuff.
You're kind of in that part of the country where meth is an issue. As you got to have the other kits for the what is that counteractant to opioid stuff?
Narcan.
Narcan. I've seen a lot of like Narcan, like it's like a Narcan fundraiser.
And a lot of times now, because Narcan is so expensive now. I think the last number I read was $141 a dose.
Get out.
And for a small fire department, 10 doses will put them back a month. But they're still getting it. They'll get grants, they'll get COVID money, and they'll take the COVID money and they'll use it for that. And then they're like, well, we need new lights and radios for this cruiser. Sorry, that's on a back burner. Let's make sure this is handled first, because it's that big of a crisis. It's cost prohibitive and kind of counterproductive for us financially to help with that front, not because we don't want to help with the accidental overdoses that occur with their canine partners, with their other police officers who accidentally make contact with fentanyl and not know it's on the surface.
Oh, yeah.
We want to help with that, but it's so cost prohibitive. I mean, like I told you, $40,000, that's gone like that if we just did that. So it's a pretty shitty world right now when it comes to drug use right now.
That's nuts, man. So where can we find you on social media? I know you're on Facebook, Back the Heroes Rumble, just on the internet, backtheheroesrumble.com. Instagram, you doing the Instagram stuff and all the stuff that the cool kids are doing?
Not Twitter. Twitter banned us during that whole spiel of banning anything pro-police for a while. Twitter was being pretty liberal with that crap, and we just said, nope, we're not going to recreate it. We have an Instagram, simply because it's tethered to our Facebook. It's easy to post. Mom runs that part.
She's good. She's really good at what she does.
Find her on TikTok. You're not your classy mom. Oh my God, she's hilarious. She does this arts and crafts thing. What is it called? Drinking and crafts or something like that. You guys got to watch it. This girl is hilarious. She is such a kindred spirit, but she's hilarious. It's one of the main reasons I love having her around. I'd be depressed as shit with this seasonal affective disorder crap hitting me, and she'll pull me out of a funk with my laugh, man. I mean, she's just great. But yeah, she's pretty good at the social media part. That is one of her catcher in the rye kind of impacts.
So are we going to see a Back the Heroes Rumble TikTok coming soon?
There is one. I've just not been very active on it. We had stuff from the Auto Expo last year that we put on there, and people kind of hit it a little bit. But TikTok is it's a whole nother animal that I can't dive into right now. Like I said, I got my hands full. But yeah, I'll have to talk to Mom and see about her tethering her TikTok with a separate like cluster of videos about our cause. With the "you're not so classy, Mom" thing.
I'm sure she knows some teenagers, like family members, that can probably help you out.
Oh yeah, and I can always look at my wife, see what she does it on downtime. I used to do these funny videos called what did they say? It was Daily Dose of Cuteness, courtesy of Theo, and I take my son up there and do videos from when he was a 3-month-old all the way up till about a year. And every now and again I still do one, but for the most part I kind of got away from it because again I've been busy. But moreover, it's time consuming when you're doing that all day.
It is.
But yeah, I mean, you here's the cool part. So little segue, the website backtheheroesrumble.com, and on Facebook you can do this too. There's a donate button. If you decide you want to donate, please by all means jump on there, and if you do it on our website you can decide where the money goes, which program we put it into. Operation Safety Net is an unfunded program right now. You're more than welcome to select that if you wish. I think I have that up. If not, I'll add it later tonight. Operation Open Arms, you guys know we provide unmet needs. And then Operation Never Forget, which is a car show, which honestly, I'd rather you come to the event and see the awesomeness we put on with our show. But we're that transparent with what we do. And if you can't donate, please share, comment, like, send our stuff, because it tickles the algorithm on Facebook and puts our content and in front of everybody. We had people from Las Vegas bring their car out to our show. They said they're going to come back with a few friends. So I'm hoping I can drag some people from, what do they call it? I'm joking when I say this, Nova Scotia, California.
Oh my gosh, that's like a very dichotomy, a geometric dichotomy there.
Right. But they bring them out from the West Coast, the Pacific Northwest. We want cars from all over there to come to the show, because we want the nation to be able to come out, especially for these two families, and say, we got your six. We will never forget Maxton Soviak or Humberto Sanchez's sacrifice. Because they weren't just over there for a war. They were over there for a humanitarian crisis, trying to help these people. They were in the midst of trying to help these people. They weren't even shooting, and they got blown up. So, yeah, we need to make sure these heroes are never forgotten. Absolutely. And they're on our website under our honorees page on our website on backtheheroesrumble.com. You can read more about them and the bios for each of them.
Thank you very much, Carl, for being here. Dude, I know you're a busy man. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for everything that your staff does. Always love to have you back. And I don't know how to say thank you again. Gracias.
We absolutely thoroughly enjoy being on this show. Thank you for giving us this platform and opportunity to spread the word about what we're trying to do, to remember our fallen heroes, and most importantly, to all your listeners out there, do not stop with what we're doing. If you find a hero in uniform, or you find out that he is a police officer who's off duty, or a firefighter, military, please shake their hand and thank them for their service, because even if they're like, it's no big deal, it still feels good to hear that. It feels validation that they're sacrificing for us.
It totally does. So everybody go hit up backtheheroesrumble.com, or just search for Back the Heroes Rumble on Facebook, and show these folks some love, man. Thank you very much for being here, Carl.
Thank you.
And this is Kaz signing out, man. I've already got the have a nice night. Thanks for watching and stuff there. It's like we have to do our stretching exercises to get back into these shows, you know. So
I didn't even realize it was the time it was. So just reading the chats was giving me a headache.
Neither did I. I just saw the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, I guess it's time to like stop or whatever. We're gonna do our stretching exercises, and it's just gonna get better and better. So thank you all for joining us. My name is Kaz, and that up there is Carl Whalen from Back the Heroes Rumble, and that's Pookie, that big furry guy. Not like a furry, but we'll see you next week. You can tune into all of our shows are going to be back online. So Monday is the Monday edition. Tuesday is Pop Culture Warrior. Thursday is Sergeant's Time. And we're back for the, oh my gosh, I just lied. I may or may not be on Friday, and I'm definitely not going to be on for the rest of the month. I may do a show on Friday. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to the frozen.
That early in the show. Yeah, you mentioned that earlier.
I'm going to the frozen tundra, so we might not have a Friday Night Freedom for a little bit. But Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday are definitely going to happen. So thank you all for joining us, and we're out.
This is WTF Nation Radio.
Okay. My friend came to the door. She said, well, I was on the phone cooking me and my baby some breakfast. And she said, hey, something wrong. It's popping. I said, what? She said, yeah. I said, no. So the girl come downstairs. She come out her apartment with her baby with no shoes on. I said, oh, girl, it's cold outside. She said, something ain't right. I said, oh, man. She said, oh, man, the building is on fire. I said, no, what? I got my 3 kids and we bounced out. We ain't gonna be in no fire, not today.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation. WTF Nation Radio.